we had covered all the principles, all 14 principles of FAOL. We had done with the features of principles of management. We also did the importance of principles of management, and we did the 4 scientific principles as well. Now, today we are going to go on with the, excuse me, with the techniques, techniques of scientific management. All right. So let me take that quickly. And here we go. So this was the last slide that I had referred to yesterday. And today we are going to start with the scientific techniques as given by Taylor. So we know that Taylor was a man of science, and he propagated that science should be used in every aspect of an organization and nothing should be left to chance or, learning by doing. He said, no, first do, learn, write down your observations, find out the best ways and then get going about the task. So experimentation के लिए उसके पास कोई space नहीं था. So the first technique that Taylor has given is functional foremanship. Functional foremanship is in absolute contrast to which principle? Unity of command. It is absolutely opposite to unity of command. Now, what Taylor said? Taylor said that it's not possible for one person, one manager to have all the qualities like insight, leadership, motivation, communication, decision making, physical ability, mental agility. All these qualities cannot be present in one person. So he advocated that the work at the floor, at the factory floor, should be divided into 2 departments. One, the planning department, and the other one, the production department. Reason, planning के लिए जो abilities चाहिए वो बिल्कुल अलग है और production के लिए जो चाहिए वो बिल्कुल अलग है. So he said that under the factory manager, that is on the shop floor where the work takes place, there should be 2 basic departments, planning and production. There should be one planning in charge and the other one, the production in charge. Now, under the planning in charge, there will be 4 foremen. Now, the code we have created over here is RITS. Now, what is this RITS? R stands for route clerk. What is the task of the route clerk? The route clerk defines the route, the process that has to be followed in doing the work. So that is R. I stands for instruction card clerk. It's very clear. Instruction card clerk's job is to provide the instructions not only in verbal manner but in writing so that people can refer to the instructions whenever they need to. Then T stands for time and cost clerk. So the task of time clerk is to keep a check on the time and thereby calculate the cost also. अब वो कैसे? Let's say it takes 30 minutes to complete one piece and the payment made per piece is 10. And a person is working for 8 hours, right? So that means if person is working for 8 hours and one piece is completed in 30 minutes, that means he will be completing twice of this. That means 60 pieces, and therefore he will be paid at the rate of 10, that is 160. So this way, time and cost clerk keeps a check on the time and the cost. And the last one is S. Why have I taken S? Because I call it as shop disciplinarian. So S stands for shop. So this is the 4th one, shop disciplinarian. It's very clear. The task of the shop disciplinarian is to maintain discipline in the organization to ensure that these 3 people are working right in the disciplined manner and the workers are also working in a disciplined manner. So he will draft certain codes, certain rules and regulations to be followed, right? So that is the planning department. Coming on to production in charge. So the code over here is, I call it as RITS and RIGS, so that it's easier for you. So RIGS now. So now what is this RIGS? The first is repairs boss. Obviously, his job is to repair the machinery and keep it intact so that there is no problem in working. I stands for the inspector. So the job of the inspector is to keep a check on the quality. So he is the quality control. You must have seen this sticker QC on products. So QC stands for quality control. So his job is to keep a check on the quality of the product so that ऐसा नहीं हो कि जल्दी करने के चक्कर में या time follow करने के चक्कर में quality compromise हो जाए. At no point of time quality needs to be compromised. G stands for gang boss, right? So the task of the gang boss is to arrange all the resources, physical, equipments, instruments, raw material, everything, even the machine, everything to be arranged for the workers before they come for the job. And the last one is speed boss. Speed boss's job is to maintain the speed. So inspector will ensure that quality is maintained and speed boss will ensure that speed is not compromised. तो दोनों चीजें साथ साथ चलनी है, तभी टाइम एंड कॉस्ट क्लर्क ने जो टारगेट सेट किया है, बेंचमार्क सेट किया है, that will be achieved. So here we have RITs and rigs. Now guys, if you get a question on particularly about functional foremanship. Now, if you remember, हमने second pre-board में question दिया था 6 marks का, where I had asked you to describe 4 things. One of that was functional foremanship. Now there, what you do is draw this diagram. Diagram has to be drawn for sure. Wherever you have an opportunity to draw a diagram, don't miss it. And when you draw a diagram, 1 पेज का डायग्राम बनाना बेटा, एक छोटा सा आइकन बना के कहीं छोटा सा चिपका मत देना, like the apps on your phone. No, it should be diagram means clarity. डायग्राम का मतलब होता है पिक्चर देना, पिक्चर का मतलब होता है क्लैरिटी. तो फुल 1 पेज का डायग्राम बनाएंगे जैसे ये बनाया हुआ है. और फिर आपके पास ऑप्शन है, या तो ये जो बॉक्सेस बनाए इसी में नीचे स्मॉल डिस्क्रिप्शन दे दीजिए, या फिर अलग से डिस्क्रिप्शन दे दीजिए कि इन सबका रोल क्या है. If you're not giving me the role of all these in charges under the planning and the production department, then you will not be getting the full marks, right? So that is functional foremanship. So I'm not going to read this. I've already described this to you. Moving on to, so this is all the functions given. And then moving on to the second one, standardization and simplification of work. Again, we are talking about 2 things over here. पहली चीज है standardization. So standardization में क्या कहते हैं Taylor? Taylor says that there should be standards set for everything in an organization. So here, this is the keyword, setting standards for every business activity. There should be a benchmark of standards set for every business activity. And these standards these standards start right from the human beings to the raw materials, to the processes followed, to the machinery, and to the final output. Now, he says that when I'm talking about standards, I'm not just talking about quality standards. That means we're not just talking about quality, but also to setting up standards as in size, type, weight, color, texture, quality, etc. In simple words, he said कि आपको जो प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने हैं वो स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड वे में बनाने हैं. यानी यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू मेक ऑल A to Z sizes of the product. You will decide at what sizes we are going to deal with, what quantities we are going to deal with, what weights or measurements we are going to deal with. So that is setting up standards in 2 ways. One is as in the way of size, type, weight, etc. And the other one is in the quality. That means the quality of the human resources as well as the physical resources, right? अब यहाँ पे ये important है, ये 3 लाइंस जो आपको दी है कि स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन का पर्पस क्या, ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है. सो 1, to reduce a given line of products to fixed type, sizes and characteristics. Now here I'll give you an example. When you go to buy ready-made garments, you get it in sizes 26, 28, 30, 32 and so on and so forth. Now let's say my waist size, for example, is let's say 33. So I have an option of either to buy size 32 and squeeze myself in it, or to buy a size 34 and use a belt, or have some loose fitting, a little loose fitting garment. तो मेरे लिए specially 33 size का garment नहीं बनेगा until and unless it is made to order. So that is what is meant by to reducing a given size of products to fixed type, sizes and characteristics. Second is to maintain quality standards, which we have talked about. And the third one is to set up performance standards for men and machine. As again, we have said, there should be a standard work condition for men as well as machine. So this is a standardization. Simplification again goes on for the same. And simplification says that unnecessary or superfluous, isko hum kehte hain superfluous varieties of products should not be catered to. So simplification says that a business should focus on a limited variety of goods rather than a superfluous variety of goods. And also when we talk about varieties, it means, because, see, the point is, if a business deals in huge variety of products, then there will be a lot of inventory required, alag type of machine, equipment, packaging material, labor, सब कुछ लगेगा. तो simply फिर टेलर कहता है कि लिमिटेड वैरायटी बनानी चाहिए so that exchange of components is possible. I hope I'm clear over here. Next is work study. I'll take it very fast now. So work study is a combination of 4 studies: fatigue, method, motion, and time. अब इसमें बहुत लंबा चौड़ा आपको करने का जरूरत नहीं है. Fatigue study. Every person, that is a human being, is bound to get tired after a certain period of time. Therefore, Taylor suggested 2 things. One, well, I'll take myself down here. Yeah. He suggested 2 things. One is the frequency and the duration. So he suggested that the time and frequency, you can see these 2 words. Sorry. The time and frequency of the rest intervals. So time means kitna duration rahega uska, frequency means how many intervals will be there. So he said that the time and frequency of the rest intervals should be decided, and that again should be done on a scientific basis. Now, what is the purpose? The purpose is so that the workers get energized, re-energized, and get back to work with the fresh, fresh attitude and zeal, and they don't compromise with the time and the quality. राइट जैसे आप लोग का हाल होता है लास्ट पीरियड तक जाते जाते यू आर लाइक वेरी स्लॉपी, मैम हम थक गए, मैम मत पढ़ाओ, ये हो जाता है ना, तो क्या है फटीग आ जाता है आपके ऊपर, उसमें लगता है कि यार अब हमें ब्रेक चाहिए. सो इवन इफ द टीचर सेज, टीचर्स लाइक मी व्हेन वी गो टू द क्लास, नो 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 वी हैव टू स्टडी, यू आर ऑलवेज फुल ऑफ एक्सक्यूजेस एंड सो ऑन. पर है क्या, हम तो पढ़ा रहे हैं लेकिन तुम्हारे दिमाग में कुछ नहीं जा रहा है, कंप्लीट बाउंसर लग रहा है क्योंकि यू आर एक्सट्रीमली स्पेंट नाउ. All right. Then fatigue के बाद आता है हमारा method study. Simple सा इसका keyword है क्या है? One best way. Taylor says that various ways of doing the work should be identified. All these should be analyzed. Work should be carried out on the basis of all these. And then the one best way should be found, and that one best way should be followed throughout the organization. तो काम करने से पहले देख लो किस किस तरीके से हो सकता है, सब तरीके से काम करके देख लो किसमें हमारे मिनिमम रिसोर्सेज लग रहे हैं, मिनिमम एनर्जी, मिनिमम टाइम, मिनिमम मैन पावर लग रहा है और बेस्ट रिजल्ट आ रहा है, एंड देन दैट मेथड बिकम्स द बेस्ट मेथड. सो ही सेज द बेस्ट मेथड शुड बी फाउंड एंड दैट शुड बी फॉलोड इन द organization throughout. This will lead to minimizing of effort, money, energy, resources, everything, and maximization of the result. Next, we move on to time study. Time study is अभी हमने किया था time and cost club. So time study aims at finding the standard time to be taken to complete a job. So the standard time that a person will take to complete a job, and this will also help in determining the number of workers to be employed. Okay. So now again, if we let's say one person takes half an hour to do a work, 8 hours का job है, यानी एक बंदा 16 pieces एक दिन में बना पाएगा. So the time taken to produce 16 pieces by one person is 8 hours. Now, if I want to have 160 pieces produced in a day, that means I will require 10 men at work. So that is how time study helps in determining not only the standard time taken to complete a work, but also the number of workers to be employed. Next, we have motion study. Now, what is motion study, beta? Whenever we do some work, whenever human beings do some work, there's a lot of movement that they make. Abhi jaise main kar rahi hu, maine haath hilaya, right? So now what I have my water bottle on my right-hand side. I have the mouse, I have the pen tab, I have my notes here, I have my mobile kept on the stand nearby. So why have I kept everything here? So that I don't have to get up and go everything every time. So that is what motion study says. Motion study कहते हैं कि कोई भी काम करने में बहुत सारे movements होते हैं, like standing, sitting, bending, lifting, getting up. So Taylor says that unnecessary movements should be eliminated so that the energy is conserved. For example, they have given you on a close examination of the body, is it possible to find out the productive movements, the incidental motions, and the unproductive motions, and all unproductive motions should be eliminated, right? Differential piece weight system. Now, differential piece weight system is against the principle of fair remuneration. Fair remuneration कहता है कि fair remuneration, equal remuneration to the people working at the same job, same position, same time should be given. But Taylor simply goes on to say that no boss, आप अगर सबको एक जैसा पैसा देना शुरू कर दोगे क्योंकि वो एक ही लाइन में या एक ही डिपार्टमेंट में और एक ही पोजीशन पे काम कर रहे हैं, they are not gonna work. So it is very important to identify efficient and inefficient workers. So Taylor wanted to differentiate between efficient and inefficient workers. And the purpose was not only like it did not stop over here. He further went on to say the purpose was so that the efficiency of the inefficient workers would be increased, right? तो ऐसा नहीं कि उनको segregate करके छोड़ दिया जाएगा. उनके लिए there will be certain tools and techniques followed so that the efficiency of the inefficient workers is increased. Now, what does Taylor say? Now, इसमें क्या होता है बच्चे, कई बार डिफरेंशियल पीस बेस्ड सिस्टम में आप लोग थ्योरी लिखना भूल जाते हो, तो पहले तो बताओ. So this system propagates paying workers on two different rates. One or a higher rate to efficient workers and a little lower rate, not a drastic change, a little lower rate to the inefficient workers. This will motivate the inefficient workers to somehow reach the target, the standard, so that they don't lose onto their wages. And it will keep the morale of the efficient workers high because they are getting paid well. तो एग्जाम्पल इसको समझा देते हैं, क्योंकि अगर आपके पास डिफरेंशियल पीस वेज सिस्टम आता है बेटा, तो आपको इसमें एग्जाम्पल देना ही देना है. All right, I was just trying to drag this bar up, menu up. One sec, please. Yeah. So what is it given? It is determined that the standard output per worker per day is 10 units. So this is your standard output. And those who made the standard or more than the standard will be paid at 50 rupees per unit, and those below will be paid at 40 per unit. Now, let's say an efficient worker is making 11 units because 10 units is the standard. So for 11 units, he will be paid at 50 and he will be getting 550. On the other hand, if another employee makes 9 units, just 1 unit short, he will be paid at the rate of 40 and he will be getting 360 per day. So just with the difference of 1 unit, the loss is that of 190, which is a huge motivator. Believe me, हम Maslow's need hierarchy theory पढ़ चुके हैं, but there is not a single soul on this earth who would ever say that he does not need money. If someone says, oh, I'm doing this just for fun or just for charity and I don't need money, and the people who preach कि पैसा जरूरी नहीं है, वो सब या तो खुद को धोखा दे रहे हैं या आपको धोखा दे रहे हैं या फिर झूठ बोल रहे हैं. So money is damn important. So this loss of 190 will give a very good lesson to the inefficient workers, and they would definitely work and get to the target for sure. So that is differential piece wage system. I'll quickly take you through the next two topics. Similarities. So आपको क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है बेटा that how do Taylor and Fayol complement each other. So their principles are different yet complementary in nature. So when we are talking about complementary in nature, we are talking about this only, that what are the similarities. कि बातें अलग-अलग कर रहे हैं लेकिन फिर भी एक है. So the main aim of Taylor as well as Fayol is maximizing efficiency. Both insist on cooperation between employees and employers. Now, when we talk about this, बेटा, यहाँ पे आप अलग-अलग examples दे सकते हो. जैसे अगर हम टेलर की बात करते हैं, तो टेलर has said development of each and every individual to his or her fullest efficiency and prosperity. He is talking about maximizing efficiency. And Fayol क्या कहता है? Fayol is also talking about how does he talk about maximizing efficiency? He is talking about centralization and decentralization. He is talking about principle of initiative. So when people take initiative, when they have power, that is when the authority is decentralized, their efficiency will also be maximized. And not to forget division of work. It also helps in maximizing the efficiency of the people. So you have to put in the principles ki how these are complementary. Then cooperation, दोनों aim करते हैं cooperation पे. So when I'm talking about cooperation, so here is cooperation, not individualism, given by Taylor. And here we have esprit de corps as given by Fayol. Both give more importance to the organization's interest over the individual's interest. So when I'm talking about Taylor is time and again saying harmony, not discord. Bhai milke kaam karo, organization sabse upar hai. Cooperation, not individualism. This is what Taylor says. And when I talk about Fayol, he says subordination of individual interest over organizational interest, right? So I've written it in short, guys, over there. Both suggested division of work for specialization. अभी हमने किया है, फ्योल ने सीधा सीधा division of work कहा है और टेलर ने कहा है functional foremanship. And here we have division of work. Principle of both is used as the basis for research in the field of management studies. This is yet another similarity. I'm again telling you, when you are asked at how the principles of Fayol and Taylor are different yet complementary, this is to be your answer. And do quote the principles. Otherwise, your answer will be considered as incomplete. If you want, you can take a screenshot quickly. Okay. maximizing efficiency का भी मैं लिख देती हूँ, development of each and every individual to his or her fullest efficiency. This is over here. And when you're talking about here, we're talking about division of work. ये लिख सकते हैं, division of work से भी efficiency बढ़ती है क्योंकि specialization आता है. Last one is the differences. I don't think I need to emphasize this anyways.